You inherited something beautiful in Europe. You know that, right? You inherited the very peak and pinnacle of rational, philosophical civilization. A civilization that took literally thousands of years and untold millions of lives to build. You exist secure from the wild wars of the world, surrounded in a valley of peace. And the mountains that surround your valley of peace are composed of the bones of your ancestors who bled and fought and died and killed to build you the security that now you seem hell-bent on squandering. You have beauty around you. You have the glories of Socrates, the glories of Christendom, the glories of the Renaissance, the Enlightenment, the Age of Reason, the Industrial Revolution, rights for women, equality before the law, separation of church and state, private property rights, rights of contract, rights of conscience, some free speech at least. These gifts, these glories, are not yours, you understand? You have inherited them from the suffering of millions of people, from the deaths of millions of people, from the shaking, bloody, ague-stained hands of your ancestors who passed these glories to you. They are not yours any more than the earth is yours. The environment is yours. The air, the water is yours. It is not. We borrow all the gifts we have received from our ancestors, from our children, and from the future. It is not ours to squander. It is not ours to hand over. It is not ours to allow to be overrun. Do you understand? You have these glories, these treasures, and a hungry world wishes to take them from you, as civilizations, as tribes, as groups have done throughout human history, relentlessly, again and again. There's a treasure, I want it for mine. And there are all these people, of course, across the world who say, well, the only reason that that treasure exists is it was stolen from you. So go take it back. You are just in doing so, and that is the way the world works. And that is the way the world has always worked. Maybe you have forgotten this reality, that the history of the world is written in conflict, in triumph, in surrender, in victory, in loss. But you have the chance to save it in a bloodless, peaceful way, in a voting way. You understand? You don't have to face down panzer divisions. You don't have to face down a plague, starvation, pestilence. You don't have to face down Genghis Khan and his centaur-like riders of archery horseback. You don't have to face down anything. All you have to do is wake up and write a small checkbox to protect everything that others had to die for, to give to you. You live secure in the valleys built by the bones of your elders. You live protected. Have you forgotten the dangers of the world? Have you forgotten the predators that roam the human landscape outside your walls? Have you forgotten any need for walls? You are a treasure laid open to the world. You are riches left on a rainy park bench. And you will be taken if you do nothing to secure yourselves. It's not a war that is required. It is not suffering that is required. It is merely awakening from the days of virtue signaling and doing something not that you're praised for, but that is actually good. You understand? Doing good in the world almost never gets you praised. And you can do it secretly You have a far easier task to save your culture than your ancestors had to build it in the first place. You have 3 days in France to save yourselves. They're your countries. Why do they have to be someone else's? Why? I thought the French were known for l'armure. Go make babies. Keep yourselves alive that way. In just over 4 weeks, Europe has had 4 terrorist attacks. Westminster, London, Stockholm, Sweden, Borussia Dortmund, Germany, and Paris, France tonight. 3 days before your elections, where the fate of everything that you have hangs in the balance. There was an April bomb attack in the St. Petersburg metro. Boom! Financed by some international terrorist group from Turkey. Again and again and again. The dominoes spin and rotate and fall until you stop them. Why? Why is this necessary? What is the point? How does it help? How does it keep the flame of freedom alive in the world so that it can spread? You can light another candle with your candle, but not if your candle goes out. Then there's nothing left to light the world. Today, tonight, 3 days before the French election, a police officer has been murdered in an apparent terrorist attack. Now, the attacker used a weapon. They're describing it as a Kalashnikov. It was on the Champs-Élysées in central Paris. One shooter shot dead by the cops. Another, as is often the case in these situations, feared to be at large. French government spokesman says the assailant who opened fire on a police van was armed with an automatic firearm he likened to a war weapon. He said it's akin to a war weapon. No, it's not akin to a war weapon. It's a war weapon. The Islamic State has claimed responsibility for these attacks. Reports have fluctuated. Everything is in flux. So far, 1 dead policeman, 2 seriously injured policemen, 1 attacker shot dead, 1 believed still to be on the run.